Welcome, friends, to this gentle yoga class using a chair. Today, I want to bring you a nice relaxing routine that you can do, and you will need just a few bits of equipment, nothing too fancy. So grab a stable chair to have handy for this class. In addition, you may want to grab a pillow from home, or if you have a blanket, you can use a blanket too. So either grab a pillow or a blanket, whatever you have available. Then some of you may have a block at home. If that's the case, go ahead and grab that block to use. Or if you have a real thick book, you could also use that, or maybe a little step stool or something. And so feel free to take a moment, look around the house, grab what you need for this yoga class to be comfortable. And then once you're ready, we can find a place just seated on a chair. And I will say that as I go through this class, I may turn the chair a few times just to improve the view so that you guys can see what I'm doing with my legs. But at home, you do not need to move your chair around. So feel free to follow along as it works for you at home. Good. So finding a nice, comfortable seated position in your chair. Let's go ahead and close eyes if you're comfortable with that. If that makes you dizzy or doesn't feel good, you can always keep your eyes open. We begin our class today with some gentle breathing. As we breathe in through the nose, we want to feel the belly gently press outward. And as we breathe out, we can feel the belly gently draw inwards. If it's not accessible for you to breathe in and out of your nose, please just continue to breathe however is comfortable for you today. As we continue with our breath, we notice if we can elongate the exhale just a little bit. Continuing to notice the sensation of our belly movement with our breath. Now I invite you to draw your awareness to maybe a little bit of relaxation as you breathe out. Notice if you can intentionally relax through your shoulder and neck area on your exhale. And now notice if you can relax through your back muscles. However, we are still wanting to sit as tall as we can here. So it's that balance between relaxing the tension yet maintaining a nice upright posture. Good. And now notice if you can gently contract your deep abdominal muscles as we're sitting here. Maybe we breathe in, and then as we breathe out, we gently draw the belly towards the spine with a little bit of tightening in those deep abdominal muscles. Let's practice that just a couple more times. Excellent. And then from here, feel free to open eyes. As we go through our class today, I invite you just to move within the range that feels comfortable and safe for your body. So if you are taking care of a shoulder today, maybe when we're doing our arm lifts all the way up, if you want to just go ahead and lift your arms to here and back down when we're doing those movements, that's okay. Feel free to give yourself that permission to take a break or to do things just a little bit differently, maybe not moving quite as far into that range of movement if it's painful for you. So feel free to let go of any of those expectations or judgment you may have for yourself. That being said, let's continue to sit tall. We'll take our chin and just slowly roll it down towards the chest here. Let's notice if we feel a little bit of stretching in the back part of our neck. We breathe in and we breathe out here. Good, and then from here, let's slowly roll the chin back up to middle. And then we can take our ear and tilt it towards one side. Good, maybe we're feeling a little bit of a pulling stretch on the other side of our neck. If we'd like to, we can take the arm opposite the direction that we tilted our head and just hook it underneath that chair. That may increase the sensation of stretch that we're feeling if we would like to feel a little bit more. And then we can bring our head back towards center here. Good. Let's take the other side. So the other side tilt of the head, and then again, the arm opposite the direction that the head is moving can grasp hold of the chair underneath. And we feel that gentle stretch down the other side of the neck. Terrific. And then we can slowly bring our head back towards center here and take our arm back in towards our lap. Let's take both shoulders, shrugging them all the way up towards the ears, rolling them back and relaxing them down. Notice the sensation of tightness here in these neck muscles. And then as we breathe out and we let the shoulders relax down, the sensation now of relaxation in those neck muscles. Good. All right, let's take our right arm. We can reach it tall, creating a nice lift through our side body. So we're reaching towards the ceiling, upward here with that arm. Again, feel free just to move in a range that works for your body. And then back down. Then we take the other arm and we lift. Nice big breath in and breath out. Swapping again, breath in and breath out. Continuing to sit tall, breath in and breath out. Good. Now if we'd like to, we can add a little lean with our arm reach. Now if that doesn't feel comfortable on our spine, we can continue just to reach upward. Otherwise, breath in and a little bit of an overreach. Good. And back down. Excellent. Breath in, reach upward, and breath out, over and down. Excellent. We'll go one more time each side. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Terrific. All right, from here, let's go ahead and we can take hold of our chair behind us, reaching our arms back. Now, if we'd like to, we can scoot forward a little bit in our chair. So if we are unable to reach the back of our chair here, we can always just reach towards the back of the part that we're sitting onto, whatever works for us. So we're creating a little bit of a stretch across the chest area. So we breathe in and we lift through the chest. We don't have to lift the head very high here. We can if it feels good. And then we breathe out and we just let our low back and our upper back kind of round a little bit. Good. And we can release and relax through the elbows here. Now let's do that again a few times. Feel free to move at your own pace. We're breathing in and we're breathing out. Notice the sensation of stretching and movement through your spine, through different parts of your spine. Maybe the low back, maybe it feels kind of good to round that. And maybe as we breathe in and we're lifting our chest, maybe it feels kind of good to create that openness through the chest. Good, so continue with that just a couple more times. We're starting to get a little bit of movement throughout all parts of our spine here. And we know that our nerves around our spine really like blood flow. So gentle movement to increase blood flow is a wonderful thing. Good. And then we can find our up tall position again. Excellent. From here, let's take a big breath in, reaching both arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to press the palms together, pulling the shoulder blades downward and together. So we're activating shoulder blade muscles here. We breathe in, reaching arms overhead. Breathe out, press the palms together, pull your shoulder blades downward and together. Nice work. Let's go a couple more times to allow you to feel this. Feel free to move at your own pace. If you want to move a little faster or slower, that's okay. Breathing in, breathing out, pulling shoulder blades together. Good. Now we're going to add a little forward bend here. So this is a nice place if you feel like the floor is a little bit far away. We're going to reach down for the floor. You can grab your step stool or book or block, whatever you have handy, and just place that in front of you. Now that can be at varying levels. So we can have that up tall like so, or it can be down a little bit too. So what we'll do, I'm going to shift my chair back just a little bit here, is we can take a nice big breath in. So we have our legs apart a little bit. Nice big breath in, reaching arms upward. Exhale, pulling shoulder blades together and down. Good, and now let's go ahead and reach for the block, depending on where it is, or we can reach for the floor, whatever feels best. In this position, I invite you to relax and release your head. Okay, so see if you can let that head release all the way down. Sometimes we hold tension in those neck muscles without even realizing it. Good, now we're going to tighten stomach muscles, and we take one arm to each thigh and we use our back muscles to help us back up. Beautiful. Let's try that again. Nice big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Exhale down. Release the neck intentionally, just continue to breathe. Good, we'll take a moment to stretch here. Now tighten stomach muscles, and we use our back muscles to help us back up. Lovely. From here, we're gonna add one more little move with this routine. So with this routine now, let's just learn a little chair pose from our chair. So we're going to go from a seated position to a partial standing position. And it's going to look like this, all right? So we're just going to lift our rear up off the chair just a little bit and then back down. Now, if that feels a little bit too hard on the knees for you, feel free to grab your blanket or your pillow, and you can always sit on that because that will bring your seat up just a little higher, which will facilitate this movement. So we can try that again. Let's try and just lift. Good, so we're tightening our stomach muscles here. We want to make sure we can still see our toes. So we want to make sure those knees didn't pop forward so much. Yes, so just check in with that. And then back down, and we're making sure the chair is still there. So now let's piece together a few of the things that we've learned. Seated, we'll take a nice big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Exhale, down, reaching for the floor or the block. Good, release the neck. Let's take a moment to breathe and notice the tension release in our neck muscles. Tightening stomach muscles, we use our back muscles too. One arm to each thigh, and we lift up. Excellent. Then from here, we'll move into our chair position, holding and breathing, feeling our thigh muscles work hard here. Let's take 3 more breaths in this position. Nice job. And then from here, we can lower back down. Let's repeat. Big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Exhale, pulling palms together and reaching down to the ground. Let the neck relax. Tighten stomach muscles, and we lift back upright. And then we make our way into that chair position. Good. We'll take a few more breaths here. And then let's go ahead and rise all the way to standing. Nice job. So feel free to rock your weight a little bit back and forth here just to get your feet underneath you. And then let's take a breath in, reaching arms overhead. And exhale, we're going to fold forward. We can bend the knees, reaching down towards the ground. Now the chair is behind us, so feel free if you'd rather sit back down at any point, you can do that. We're bending the knees and we lift back upright again. Breath in, breath out. Our knees are soft and slightly bent as we bend forward. Let the head relax, let the neck muscles relax. And we bend the knees a little to come back upright. Good. All right, arms to heart center here. We're gonna repeat something that we did sitting down. So at any point, feel free to take a break sitting again if you'd like to. Let's take one arm, reach it tall. Again, we can just focus on the upright reach, or we can add the overreach. Our other arm can help support us a little bit here. And then back to center. Arm can come down. Breath in, reaching arm up. Breath out and over. And back towards center. Good, we can take that arm back down. Let's go ahead and we'll slowly sit back down towards the chair. We're gonna add a little something for our coordination here today. So let's go ahead and we'll sit real tall on our chair, taking one arm and reaching it tall. Let's take the other leg out in front of us with the toe pulled upward on that other leg, okay? Good. So we're sitting real tall here, a nice big stretch upward, and then back down. Let's go ahead and swap. So the other leg goes out, and the other arm reaches tall. Good. Now, I'm still sitting on my blanket, or you may be too, or your pillow. That's okay. I'm going to just go ahead and take mine out for this part. But if yours still feels good in there, you can go ahead and continue to use it. All right, let's go again. So one leg and the opposite arm reaches. Our leg that is out, our toes are pulled upward. So we're getting a little ankle stretch, maybe a little stretch down the back part of our leg too. And back down. Let's swap again. Reaching tall, leg goes out. One more time each side. Reaching tall, and leg goes out. Last time. Terrific. And back down. Good. Let's take a big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Exhale, we're going to take our legs apart, reach down for the ground again. Release the neck. Good. And then tighten stomach muscles, and we can come on back upright. Excellent. From here, we're going to go ahead and make our way to standing. We'll use this transition, though, to go through a chair pose. So again, we lift our rear slowly, holding for a couple breaths in this position, and then we come all the way to standing. Nice work. From this point, you can keep your chair where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and shift mine just to allow a better view for you guys to see what my legs are doing. And so if you want to make your way towards the back of the chair, you can do that. We'll hold on to the chair as we would like to. Let's take our right leg and we'll step it back, finding a lunge position. So that back heel is off the ground. We can use the chair for a little balance. If we don't want to use the chair, if we don't feel like we need it today, we can take both arms up. That's all right. Or we can have one arm up and one arm resting on the chair here. So we're breathing and holding this position, noticing maybe a little stretch down the front part of that thigh. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and we'll step that back leg forward. And let's take the other leg behind. So we lift the other leg, taking it behind. And we're holding this lunge position. Good. Noticing side to side differences here. And then from here, we can step that leg forward. Good. Let's go ahead. We'll go to the other leg again, stepping that leg back. Lunge position. And step that leg forward. Other leg, stepping it back. And stepping it forward. Good. From here, let's walk our feet back just a little bit. And we're going to use that chair to help us. We bend our knees and we're going to just sit our hips back in order to get a nice shoulder stretch. We may have to adjust our feet a few times here. Our knees are bent slightly. We're creating just this lovely shoulder stretch and maybe a little stretch in the spine. Breath in, breath out. Good. And then let's rise back up as we walk our feet forward. Good. Let's do that again, but we'll add a couple things. So big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Breath out, palms together. We reach for the chair if we'd like to use it. Right leg steps back. Find our lunge position. Good. Again, if we want to add one arm lift, we can. And back down, we'll step that leg forward. Breath in, reaching arms overhead. Breath out, palms together, reaching for our chair. Left leg can step back. We find that lunge position. If we'd like to take one arm up or two, we can. And reaching back for the chair, we step that leg forward. Nice big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Exhale, palms together. Beautiful. Let's go ahead now. We can use that chair however we'd like to, and we're going to work into our warrior one position. So for our warrior one position, we take one leg and we step it back. I'm going to shift my chair forward slightly here. We step that leg back, and our back heel is down this time. So that's the difference here between the lunge that we just did. So we find that warrior one position. We can reach for the chair and keep holding on the whole time if we'd like to, or we can take our arms up. Again, we have several options here of how we want to use that chair. So I invite you to pick the option that works best for your body. In this warrior one position, we're creating a nice upright position with our spine. Maybe we're feeling a little stretch in the back thigh, the back calf area, and maybe the front of the thigh area too. We want to draw our belly towards the spine here. Good. Now this can be turned into a little bit of a balance exercise too. If you'd like to take arms on either side of you and work on balancing here, that's okay too. Terrific. Now, arms can come back to the chair if we'd like them there. Let's step that leg forward, and we're going to try that warrior one position on the other side. So we can step that other leg back. Again, finding that warrior one position that works for our body. Breathing in, breathing out, creating a nice, tall, upright, and open spine position. Now, one other little tip I'll give you, if you're experiencing any back pain or hip pain with this, that back leg can come a little closer towards the front leg in this warrior one position. That should help relieve any back pain. The other little tip is we can take our back leg and shift it out an inch to the side if we're still having some hip or back pain, and that also should help relieve it. Good. So let's go ahead. We'll step that leg forward now. And let's walk our feet back again, finding our shoulder and back stretch. We can bend our knees and release downward using the chair for support. Breath in, breath out. Good. And now we're walking our feet forward again. Nice job. From here, let's find our warrior one, again, back with that right leg stepping back. So we find warrior one position. Again, feel free to use the chair as you would like to here. Let's take 3 breaths here, trying to calm our body and settle into this position. We can relax and release through our neck muscles. One more breath in and out here. Nice work. From here then, let's open up to our warrior two position. So notice I just swiveled my leg open a little bit, and we can still use that chair for a little support. The leg that's closest to the chair is bent, that knee, and the other knee is straight. Good. So we're standing tall here with an open chest, reaching our other arm out if that works for our body. Maybe we're starting to feel this thigh work a little bit. If we can, let's check in with that thigh and make sure the knee is lined up over the ankle. We want to make sure that the knee is not going way past the ankle because that's going to put more pressure on that knee. So let's line that knee up right over the ankle if that works for our bodies. Good. So this is our warrior one position. Let's turn this into a reverse warrior now. So for the reverse warrior, we're reaching down towards the leg that's straight. And if we feel balanced here, we can add the other arm, or we can hold in this position. So this is option A, or we can add the other arm, lifting up and over. Or holding and breathing in this position. Good. And then let's bring that arm back towards the chair, finding our warrior two position again. Excellent. Now we'll turn this into our side angle. So we can use that chair for support, and we're reaching up and over. Good. Let's come back to our warrior two. So that time my arm went and reached towards that opposite wall. If that doesn't feel so good for your shoulder, depending on what's going on with the shoulder or arm, we can lift that arm just straight up, or we can also keep that arm down with the palm facing forward. So feel free to adjust in this side angle, or make it an extended side angle with that arm coming all the way over. Good. Let's come back towards our warrior two position. Excellent. Let's go ahead. We're going to lift our heel, our right heel, and we pivot towards facing the chair. Now we find ourselves in that lunge position again with the back heel off the ground. We're going to shift our body forward and step that leg forward. Feel free to adjust your feet. Good. Let's take a big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Exhale, palms together, and then reach for the chair, walking the feet back. We can take our knees and slightly bend them for a nice shoulder and back stretch. Big breath in and out here. And then we can walk our feet forward. And we're going to repeat this on the other side. So I'm going to move the chair. Again, you guys do not need to move your chair. I'm moving this so that my other leg will be in the viewer's window here, okay? And so now taking our opposite leg, we can step that leg back, finding our warrior one position. Again, arms can stay down, lifted, or we can have one arm lifted here. So we find a nice solid warrior one, lifting through the chest, noticing areas that we're feeling stretching here. We'll take 2 more calming breaths in this position. Nice job. Then from here, we're going to go ahead and open this out to our warrior two position, okay? Excellent. So in this warrior two position, let's hold this for a few breaths. We'll check in again with that knee that's bent, making sure the knee is lined up right over the ankle. We can use that chair if we'd like to, or we can take our arms up. But just know the chair is there so that we're able to use it if we choose. Big breath in, big breath out. We're starting to release through the neck and shoulder area again. Sometimes those shoulders want to creep up towards the ears. So we want to continuously check in to see if we can release shoulders away from the ears, pulling those shoulder blades together and down towards the spine and downward. Good. Now we're going to take the left arm, reaching it down to the leg that's straight. We can continue to hold on here if we'd like to. Our neck is turned slightly, so we're getting a little neck stretch. If we'd like to, we can lift that other arm if we're feeling comfortable and balanced here. We breathe in and out in this position. Good. From here, let's bring that arm back, and we'll find that warrior two position again. Now, maybe notice if you're feeling a little tension in that thigh muscle that's been holding you up for a little bit. It's a great strengthening exercise here to maintain this position, but if you need a break, you can straighten that knee and bend it a couple times. So feel free, if you're starting to feel that thigh, to give it a little break or a rest period. Now our other arm, we can shift it up and over into our side angle or extended side angle. So if that left shoulder wants to go all the way over, it can, or it can stay pointing upright, or we can keep it down by our side with that palm facing forward. Whatever position here feels good, feel free to take that. We want to continue to try and tuck our tailbone under in this position. It's quite easy to sit back and get this movement by sitting the hips back. But it's important we try to keep the hips underneath us. That may mean that we don't bend over quite as far. Maybe we only go to here then. That's okay. Good. Let's find our warrior two position again. And then we can lift our back heel and pivot towards facing the chair. Good. So we're in this lunge position. Now we're going to step forward and we can adjust our feet. Nice big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Breath out, reaching down towards the chair. Walking our feet back now. We can bend our knees using the chair. We'll create that nice gentle stretch through the spine and the shoulders. Good. Breath in and out. And then we walk our feet forward, back towards the chair. Nice work. I'm going to switch my chair again because we're going to go back to the other side. We'll go through that routine one more time, but I'll move a little bit faster with it this time. Okay? So we step our right leg back, finding our warrior one position. Breath in, breath out. Feeling tall and strong. Good. Now we open up, finding our warrior two position, reaching that other arm outward. Again, if we're taking care of any shoulder issues, we can have that arm a little bit lower. It does not have to be up here. We want to continue to release tension from the shoulders away from the ears. And now we add our side or our reverse warrior. Back towards our side angle. Good. Or our warrior two. Now we're shifting into our side angle. And back towards our warrior two position. Excellent. From here, let's go ahead and we'll swivel towards the chair. We lift that back heel. Maybe we create a little bit of that stretch down the front part of our thigh again. And let's step that leg forward. Breath in, breath out. Reaching for the chair, stepping our feet back. Let's add our gentle stretch. Knees are bent slightly. We're reaching the hips back as we're lowering and creating a shoulder and spine stretch. And then we come back up, walking the feet forward. Now we'll swap to the other leg. Stepping back with our left leg, we find that warrior one position. Breath in, breath out. Terrific. Then from here, we'll open up and we find our warrior two. Breath in, breath out. Now we turn this into our reverse warrior. And then back towards our warrior two position. And now shifting into our side angle position. Again, the top arm can take liberty here to do something different. And then back, finding our warrior two again. Good. We lift our back heel and we pivot towards forward facing. We're facing the chair. Let's step that leg forward. Nice big breath in. Breath out, palms together. Stepping the feet back, bending the knees, a gentle forward stretch here. And back up towards the chair. Terrific. At this point then, we can make our way around the chair because we're going to use the other side of the chair for a stretch. So I'm going to just turn my chair. Again, you guys do not need to be moving your chair around. I'm doing this just for the sake of the viewer and the video. So facing this section of our chair now, the front part, we can take one leg forward and one leg back slightly. We're going to set up for a little stretch for the back of our legs. And so our back foot, the toes are just out to the side, off of midline a little bit, okay? Now in this position, we want to walk our hands down towards the chair. We may need to adjust our feet a little bit. That's okay. Now, our knees can be soft. We want to make sure they're not hyperextended or snapped backward too far. So just keep them pliable here. And we're working our belly down towards our front thigh. Now, we can lean on the chair here. Our goal is to feel a stretch in the back part of that front leg, okay? So we can lean on the chair. For some of us, this might look like this, with our hands on the chair. For others, it might be that we can take our forearms down towards the chair, releasing the neck. Good. And if we're not feeling any stretch there and we'd like to back up and reach down for the floor, that works too. But we have several options here to use that chair to help support us where we're at so we don't lose the alignment as we're trying to stretch the right muscles here safely. Once we're in this position, we can breathe and try to relax. On our exhale, we're releasing in areas that we feel tension. Slowing our exhale down, let's take maybe 2 more breaths. Excellent. From here then, we can walk our way back upright. Again, bend your knees a little to help with this transition. And let's step that back leg forward. Let's give our head a chance to clear because we've kind of been hanging down for a little bit. So if you're dizzy, feel free to grab hold of that chair just until the head clears. Then let's add a little reset with the arms in between. Big breath in, breath out. Pull the palms together, shoulder blades together, and down the spine. Let's pause here for a moment, and I invite you to think of something that you are absolutely so thankful for. We take a moment during our yoga classes just to be gracious and have gratitude. Good. So when you're ready then, let's go ahead and we'll swap legs. And so let's take the other leg back behind. And we can make our way down towards the chair here, whatever works for you. We may also notice one side is different than the other side. So if you're noticing that you can go down a little further or maybe not as far, that's fairly common. Good. So now again, we're hoping to feel this stretch in the back part of the thigh of the leg that's in front. Okay. So we can adjust as we need to here, either down to the floor or elbows straight, whatever works for our bodies. Okay, lots of options here. We're breathing in and out. Terrific. And then from here, let's go ahead. We can soften the knees as we transition back upright, stepping the back leg forward. And we come up nice and slow, taking a moment, taking a couple breaths. Let your head clear or grab the chair as you would like to. Let's do a big breath in, reaching arms overhead. Exhale, palms together, pulling the shoulder blades together and down, opening through the chest. Good. And we'll take our arms back down by our sides for a moment. Let's take a big breath in and out. Nice work. Then from here, we can go ahead and circle around our chair so that we can hold on to the side part of the chair. Well, we're going to move into a little bit of tree pose for a balance. If you have your block or your book or step stool handy, you can go ahead and grab that now and just keep it close by. You may or may not choose to use it, but I want to show you an option here with our tree pose. So standing with our arms supported on the chair, if we choose, we can take all of our weight through the leg that's closest to the chair, feeling all parts of that foot engage with the ground or the mat or carpet, whatever we're standing on. Notice if we're wanting to roll to the inside of that foot or to the outside of that foot. We want to see if we can distribute the pressure equally. Good. Now we notice that our outer hip is tight and engaged, the hip muscles. We tighten through our core muscles, our belly towards the spine. And we can take that other arm out to the side for a moment. Now let's lift our other leg. We can lift it just above the ankle here, finding our tree pose. So this would be one way that we can try to balance here. If we want to hold the chair the whole time, we can do that. Or we can try to let go of the chair a little bit. We can take both arms to heart center, or we can take both arms overhead. Feel free to experiment. Do what works best for your body. Now I want to show you one more option. If you're doing fine currently with this setup, go ahead and keep working on balancing. Take breaks when you need to. Otherwise, if this feels like it's a little too much pressure through that standing knee or leg, we can take our block and we can put our other foot and just gently rest it on that block. That gives us just a little way to offload the pressure on our standing leg and we still get to work on our balance. So we can experiment, with that foot that's on the block, or we can keep it resting there. We can take one arm up. We can take both arms up. So lots of options here. And I invite you to try several and see what works best for your body. See where you feel like you're able to find that position of balance, where we're working muscles, but we're also able to breathe and relax at the same time. It's a hard balance sometimes to find. Good. So once you feel like you've had enough on that side, feel free to swap to the other leg. So now we're rooting through our other foot. Again, we want to take that time to set up the balance and equal pressure distribution through our foot. We feel the outer hip is engaged. We're lifting tall through the spine. Then we can take the other leg and lift it just above the ankle if we'd like to. Good. We can continue to hold here. We can take our arm up, or both arms up, or we can take arms to heart center. Again, we can add the block if we'd like to under the other leg, taking any of those arm positions. So continue to breathe. Find a nice breath in and a nice breath out as you work your tree pose balance for a couple more breaths, whatever that looks like for you. And then we can bring our leg back down. I want to have another go on each side. Okay, so we'll swap to the other side. Breath in, breath out. Make your way into the tree pose that works for you. Work to relax shoulders away from the ears. Work to notice your breathing as you're balancing. Good, and then we can take that arm and leg down. If the arm was lifted, feel free to shake out your standing leg, do some ankle circles. Then we'll swap to the other side, taking the other leg up. And feel free to work into the expression of tree pose that works best for you, given the options the last time round that we did this. Good, breathing in, breathing out. Nice job. And then we can go ahead and lower the leg and the arm. Again, feel free to do some circles of the ankle that you are standing on. Totally fine. Nice work, you guys. All right, so we're going to work into a couple more different movements here before we get back to sitting in the chair. So for this next one, we can hold on for support, pick a leg to start with, and we're going to do a little hip stretch. So we lift our leg up in front, our knee. Let's do the outside knee, okay, compared to the leg that's closest to the chair. And now we can rest that leg on top of our knee, and we can notice the hole through our leg here. So we're creating kind of a figure 4 position. Now, in this position, we can take our arm out, and we're sitting the hips back towards the back of the room. Good. Hopefully in this position, we're able to feel a little outer hip stretch. We want to be careful that our standing leg stays straight. We don't want that standing knee to roll inward, okay? So we want to keep that thigh straight here. The other thing that happens is we kind of tend to sink into our standing hip. So we want to make sure that we're not sinking into that standing hip. We're keeping the support from the hip muscle here. If this feels like it's a little too hard for your body, that's okay. Feel free to do this sitting in a chair too. We have that option, and we will cover that here in a moment. Excellent. Now we can go ahead and slowly make our way out of that position. If you would like to, you may turn around and do this holding the chair with the other side. I'm going to go ahead and just turn the chair to my other side. We're doing the same thing. So if your back is now facing to the camera or to me, that's okay. You know what to do. Just lift that opposite leg, sit the hips back, find that figure 4, feel the outer hip stretch. Breathing in, breathing out. We're doing the same thing as we did on the other side. Again, taking care not to sink into that standing hip. Nice work. All right, so we're slowly coming out of that position. Feel free to shake out that standing leg a little bit as you would like to. Terrific. So from here, we're going to come back to a seated position in our chair. So feel free to make your way back to a sitting position. You guys have been doing great with all of these moves. Let's just take a big breath in, reaching arms up overhead. Exhale, palms together, pulling shoulder blades down the spine. Good. Let's add our forward bend, reaching down towards the floor, the block. Release the neck. Legs come wide. Tighten stomach muscles. We can bring one arm at a time up to our thighs, and we roll back up to a nice, tall, seated position. Good. Now from here, we're going to add a seated eagle pose. So we take one leg, let's take our right leg, we can cross it over the left if it goes, all right? So do your best to get that leg crossed over. If it doesn't go completely over, we can always just get the ankle part on the knee, and we can reach around the top knee to get this stretch, all right? So I'll give you a couple options. But let's take that leg, we'll cross it over. We're sitting real tall. Now, this may be enough work for us to have that leg crossed and sit tall. We may be feeling quite a hip stretch or a back stretch. Feel free, if you'd like to hold this position and breathe, that's okay. If you want to add some arms, we can take the arms out. Now the leg that is on top, we take that arm, so my right leg is on top, my right arm is gonna come underneath my left arm, okay? And so we create those eagle arms here for a little bit of a shoulder blade area stretch. In this position, we're pulling our shoulder blades together and downward at the same time as having our arms crossed like this. Yes, and we're sitting tall, so there's a lot going on here. Now, if this doesn't work for our shoulders or our legs, the other option is to have that leg as crossed over as it can go. Take hold around the leg and sit tall here. Good, and we work on the breath as we're stretching different things in this position. So take the option that works best for your body. Breathe in, breathe out. Try to release tension through the neck and shoulder area as you're holding this. Nice job. Then we can go ahead and let's release arms. If they're interlaced, we can release the leg. Feel free to do a little side-to-side wiggle shift if that feels good. Then let's swap. We'll take the other leg, crossing it over, sitting tall. Arms can come out if we're adding our eagle arms. Left arm underneath the right arm, if our left leg is the one that's on top. Finding those eagle arms. Now again, if this doesn't work for your body, feel free to take the option that does work. We either hold this and breathe, working on releasing tension, or we can sit tall with that arms around the knee and leg, finding our upright position here, and we're breathing and working on releasing tension. So take the option that best works for your body here. Nice big breaths in and out through the nose if that's accessible for you. And then from here, we can let that leg uncross, release the arms if they're interlaced. Good. So that figure 4 stretch that we did standing, we're gonna also try that sitting. So let's take that right leg, we cross it over like a figure 4. We're sitting tall here. So I invite you with the leg that's crossed, try to pull the toes upward. So we're having an active ankle position there. Now, we may already be feeling quite a bit of a stretch just sitting tall in this position. Our stretch that we feel may be in that outer hip, outer right hip. If we're not feeling any stretch, certainly we can lean forward here, and that should allow us a little bit more of a pulling sensation. We breathe and hold in this position. Good. From here, we're going to continue to use our right leg for another gentle stretch. So we come back upright, keeping that same leg on top. Let's draw the knee towards our nose, a little closer in towards midline. We're going to now take the left arm across, and the right arm can reach out to the side. Good. Now we can add a gentle twist towards that top leg. Okay? So twisting within the boundaries of what works for our body. We want to lift through the chest here. It's so easy to stay in our rounded position and then twist. But instead, I invite you to try to lift through that chest, adding the gentle twist. It's okay if we're not twisting very far. We want to just twist gently within the boundaries of what works for our body. Good, and we're breathing and relaxing. Let's come back towards midline here, and then let's swap to the other leg. So sitting tall, again, feel free to take any wiggles that you would like to, just to reset. And then let's take the other leg. We cross it over like a figure 4 position. We're sitting tall, and we have an active ankle on that leg that is on top. So we're pulling our toes back. Good. Breathing in and releasing tension on the exhale, noticing that outer hip stretch. It could be that one side feels quite a bit different than the other side. Good. Now, from here, then, we can draw that knee a little bit closer towards our body, towards midline. And we can take hold around that leg, and the other arm comes out. Good. So finding this position, we can add the gentle twist, lifting through the chest. Breathing in, breathing out, releasing shoulders away from the ears. Again, noticing maybe they started to creep up a little bit. We want to bring them down. Nice job. And then we can bring our body back towards midline again. And let's go ahead and uncross. Terrific. We have one more set of muscles around the hips, the inner thighs, that I'd like to stretch before we calm our bodies down here a little bit more. So let's go ahead. We're going to transition through our chair pose, lifting our seat. If that doesn't work, feel free to come to standing, however does work for you. Good. And then back upright to standing. Now, we can make our way around our chair towards the part that's sitting, that we sit on, and let's go ahead and find feet wide in this position. Okay, so we want to get a little inner thigh stretch here. So let's bend the knees. We can reach for the chair. Again, we can have our elbows straight if we're getting enough of an inner thigh stretch, or we can have our elbows bent here. We may need to adjust the feet. We can kind of wiggle those feet outward if we'd like to. Now let's bend one knee to get the inner thigh stretch on the other side. And then we can come back to middle and bend the other knee. Okay, so feel free to do this however works for you. I'm going to show this option with the arms straight. So legs are apart. We're shifting over to one side to get our inner thigh stretching, back to middle, and we're shifting over to the other side to get that inner thigh stretch. But all the meanwhile, we're taking up some pressure through this chair here, so we don't have to feel like we're balancing. Good. So feel free to go a little back and forth here, whatever feels good for your body. It's quite common to have one side that feels a little bit tighter than the other side with this particular stretch. So if that's the case, feel free to hold a little longer in the side that feels tighter, if that feels good. We're going for gentle stretching. So feel free to finish up with that one when you're ready. I'll give you a couple more seconds to do that. And then we'll make our way back to our chair, seated comfortably. Feel free, if you'd like to sit on your pillow or blanket, you can do that too. Okay, so finding our nice upright seated position in our chair, let's take our right leg out in front. We're going to draw the toes towards us. So again, it's an active ankle position. Now we're sitting towards the edge of our chair here, so you may need to adjust in order to be in that position. Sitting tall, we want to lean forward slightly, creating that gentle pull down the back part of the thigh. We can lean on the opposite leg here to give us some support. We can reach towards the toe if we'd like to, or if we're feeling enough of a stretch just by leaning forward, that's a good place to stop then. Gentle stretching is usually much more effective than going aggressively into a stretch. So let's see if we can just breathe and relax here, releasing tension through the shoulders and neck. Maybe we feel even that we're pulling our shoulder blades together in this position a little bit towards the spine. Yeah, so we can activate those back muscles. Good, and then let's come back upright. Bending that knee, let's swap to the other side. Nice, tall, upright position, and we're shifting our body forward towards our toes. Terrific. Now from here, we can come back upright, taking that leg in. Excellent. All right, so feel free to take a little side-to-side shifting, whatever feels good to reset. Maybe some shoulder shrugs, rolling those shoulders up towards the ears and then back down a couple times. Should feel kind of nice. Excellent. And this is the time in our class where we tend to bring our levels down again towards breath and body awareness as we finish out our class with our final Shavasana. And so I invite you to find a comfortable seated position in your chair. If you would like to sit back and lean against the back of your chair, that's okay, or you can continue to sit tall. We do want you to continue to maintain an upright posture, though. So if you're leaning against your chair, make sure you're sitting up tall against that chair. Finding both feet flat on the ground here. Let's close eyes if you're comfortable in this position. We draw our awareness back towards our breath as we breathe in, feeling the belly gently press outward. As we breathe out, feeling the belly gently draw inward. Noticing the belly movement here for a couple more breaths. Terrific. From here then, with our eyes closed, if that's comfortable, notice your feet in contact with the floor, the carpet, the mat, whatever you're doing yoga on today. Notice if your foot is equally in touch with the surface, or if you're rolling your ankle towards the outside or the inside a little bit. Gently see if you can shift so that all parts of each foot are engaged and in contact with the surface below. Continue your breath. Now we shift our awareness a little bit higher up towards the knees. Without judgment, just notice the knee position and notice any sensations around each knee. First the right knee, and then the left knee. Continue with your breath. And now let's shift our awareness up towards the right hip, noticing any sensations around the right hip, and then the left hip. And now notice the sit bones or the surface that's in contact with the chair. Just observe parts of the hip or upper thigh that are in contact with the chair that you're sitting on. And now let's take our awareness up towards our low spine, our lumbar spine. Notice if we're feeling tension or relaxed sense in that position of the spine. Again, we work to observe these things without any judgment. And now we shift our awareness a little higher up to our thoracic spine, the area where the rib cage comes around and meets the spine. We notice any sensations in that area. Maybe there's a sensation of warmth or stretch or tingling or work. We just observe. And now we shift our awareness a little higher up towards our neck, noticing our neck position on top of our body. And now I invite you to notice your shoulders, first your right shoulder, and the area between your ear and your shoulder on that right side. Notice with your next exhale if you can release tension in that area. And now we shift our awareness over to the left side, the left shoulder and ear and the muscles between them. On the next exhale, working to release tension on that side. And now breathing in and breathing out, notice your whole right arm. And notice your whole left arm. And now I invite you to observe your whole body. Picture your body seated comfortably on this chair. We bring our awareness back to our breath now, noticing the air as it enters our body and as it exits our body. And then from here, I invite you to notice physically how you're feeling and mentally how you're feeling. Finding that space to just observe, giving yourself permission to slow down and take those necessary breaths in and out, allowing the body to adjust and to release tension and to release anxiety. From here, feel free to slowly open your eyes. Feel free to add any gentle movement that would feel good, maybe in the ankles, maybe in the wrists. And as we close out our class today, we close with our usual greeting at the end of our classes. So I invite you to take both arms towards heart center as we close out our class. Thank you all so much for joining me today for this gentle chair yoga. Namaste.